Yeah, the Mariners just did that. Colby, hit it.
Yeah, they did.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Sunday, September 21st, 2025. This is Tony Gonzalez and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Go to 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. And as always, if you want to hear from me and Colby even more and help support the show, you can check out our Patreon. All you have to do to check that out is click the link in the description of this episode. Your Seattle Mariners have swept the Houston Astros, beating them 7-3 tonight on Sunday Night Baseball to take a 4-game lead in the AL West with 6 games to go. Yes, it says 3 in the standings, but it's 4 because of the tiebreaker. Now, Colby, I don't know if you saw the comments on last night's episode, but the people are the people are wanting more energy out of you, pal. So now that the Mariners have swept the Astros, given all the things that I just said, can I get a hell yeah?
Heck yeah.
There you go. There you go, people. I tried.
Good job, fellas. I'm just glad both teams had fun. Although I doubt the Astros had much fun.
I don't think the Astros had any fun.
Yeah.
Especially Carlos Correa getting interviewed in the 3rd inning after the Mariners put up 7.
Yeah, that was rough. Felt unnecessary, but I'm kind of sad now that this game was on Root, but also, or that was on ESPN, but also kind of happy because the Mariners snatched the soul of their rival on national TV for all to watch. So there's a payoff there at the end, and it's an interesting note that I didn't even think of until I saw it, somebody posted on social media. The Mariners never trailed in the entire series. Yeah. They take a 1-0 lead in the first inning of the first game and never trailed.
Yep.
27 innings. They didn't trail for a single one of them, which is pretty impressive stuff. They were never tied for a single one of those.
Except at 0-0.
Right after but they were tied in with the first 2 outs of the series. After that, it was pretty much all Mariners. And you take away that grand slam, which I know you can't, and fair is fair, whatever. But you kind of utterly dominated them, with the exception of a couple of your mid-leverage relievers not being perfect in their outings. And so, it was, let's say, thorough. The beating that we just saw the Mariners put on the Astros, and it was awesome. It was satisfying. And now you're, like you said, you're 4 games up with 6 to go. The magic number is 3. And we haven't had this much excitement since, I don't know, a team 30 years ago, perhaps. Yes, because everything always has to be about the 95 team.
Yeah, everything good that happens to the Mariners, it's just like 95. Hey guys, remember 1995? It was great.
I'm just telling you guys right now, we will hear that tomorrow on Seattle Sports on 950. We'll hear it over the week on the Root broadcast. I'm telling you, the 95 team will be brought up and comparisons will be made. I guarantee you, because of course, nothing good can happen to this franchise without talk about 95 first. But hey, you know what? The Mariners erased a 7-game lead, 7-game deficit, I should say, in about 2.5 months. Wasn't quite as swift as what the Astros did to you last year, but you
nice little get back still for that.
You've gained 10 games on them since July 6th. And that includes a stretch where you went 2-7 and another one where you went 3-7. So like the Mariners are a very streaky team, and they caught fire at the right time, and they're one Matt Brash blow up away from winning 15 in a row. Yeah. So it's pretty nuts what's happening right now. And it was a good capper on that stretch before the off day to win this game, and yet to still make it just interesting enough that we weren't 100% sure they were going to win that game until the final was recorded, because why would the Mariners do anything else?
Yeah, I mean, were there scary moments? Yes, throughout. There was never a time during this series where I felt okay and safe. Even though
Nope.
I probably should have at some points, I never did.
Mhm.
I never did. And that's just how I'm coded as a Seattle Mariners fan. And I don't apologize for that.
I don't trust people who aren't like that.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't care enough if you're not like that. That's all I'm saying.
But objectively speaking, Jesus, objectively speaking, the Mariners dominated this series.
Yeah.
Like from Friday through tonight. There was really never a time in this series where the Astros felt in control, like they were dictating the circumstances.
Nope.
Things got dicey there last night, but
Mhm.
other than that, really, like this was all Mariners.
Yeah.
And what a statement tonight. And obviously, they only scored in one inning, but that's all they needed.
They only had one other hit outside of that inning.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But I mean, what a statement that was, right? On national television, the first inning, you go 3 up, 3 down. It's like, okay, this is going to be a battle. Jason Alexander has been a guy that has been able to, put up zeros, and he's been able to get deep into some games. It's like, okay. And obviously this is an Astros team with their backs against the wall. And, obviously they were missing Jeremy Pena tonight, but still an incredibly talented team and a team that has so much experience and so many wins in its history. They've been here so many different times and, elimination games, all that. And obviously tonight wasn't technically an elimination game, but it was such high stakes though.
yes.
And so, you knew that they were going to scratch and claw every single inning.
They had all of their high leverage arms at their disposal too. So if you fell behind, they were going to be really quick to go out and get Abreu and get King and go out there and throw those guys at you to try and secure. They needed this win. They needed this win. And you just pretty much, snatched their soul pretty darn quick.
I mean, JP hits the grand slam and it's like, it's just 5-0 all of a sudden in the blink of an eye.
Mm-hmm.
And then, mound visit for Alexander. 2 batters later, 7-0. Cal Raleigh with his 58th home run of the season. Like, that's an incredible statement that the Seattle Mariners made. And, that was another thing that I was wondering, and I actually kind of failed to mention last night or bring up last night when we were talking about like what's the energy level going to be like on the Astros side of things. What was the energy level going to be like on the Mariners side of things after, you accomplished what you ultimately wanted to accomplish. You won the series. You had a successful road trip. You put yourself in the driver's seat to win the AL West. Were you going to be able to go the extra mile? And they did. And then some. 7-0 right out of the gate. Like, they took all the air out of that stadium. And the Astros started to fight back a little bit there. And Logan was very much 2025 Logan, especially after the second inning. A very good 6th inning, but innings 3, 4, and 5.
It is the least enjoyable thing you can ever watch is watching Logan Gilbert labor through innings. Yeah.
But the crowd got back into it a little bit there, but for the most part, it felt like you just not only snatched the souls of the Astros, but also that fan base. And I loved every single minute of it.
There was
delicious.
Definitely a defeatist tone in that ballpark. And, honestly, I didn't really feel the energy all that much today at all. Even in the first inning, they get the leadoff double on the first pitch and Logan gets the next 3 outs on, 6 pitches. And it was just, you can almost just feel like, here we go again. And as Mariner fans, we've had that feeling plenty of times, particularly when playing the Astros. So it was kind of fun to see the roles reverse there, but to just jump out on Costanza as quickly as you did and, get to the Astros bullpen, in what, the second and third inning, whatever it was. Now you didn't do anything against their bullpen and they didn't even really throw their best guys at you, which is a little concerning, but that's a problem for a different day. But to just, step on their throats really after that, they loaded the bases, and there was a real threat that they weren't going to get anything out of that. Robles was on a 3-2 count, and he hits a lot of ground
Canzone
balls.
had grounded out. They got the force out at home. The at bat prior.
Yeah, and you're just kind of sitting there like 3-2 count. Robles chases a lot. He also hits a lot of ground balls. So this thing could go sideways. Instead, he takes the walk. Alexander doesn't throw a competitive pitch, and it sets up the big home run from JP Crawford. And the whole thing just kind of snowballed from there. Cal gets another one. And it's, I think a normal fan would say game's over, but of course, as Mariner fans, with 24 outs left to get, or again, it was the second inning or third inning? Second inning. Where
I gotta be honest. There was about 5 minutes there when it was 7-0 where I was like, oh, they smoked them. Like it's over. And then I was like,
mistake.
And then I was like, wait, this is the Mariners. And then I locked back in. But I mean, when Robles got the walk, I was like, great, awesome. I'm just cool with that. Just get one out of the situation. Like if you come away empty-handed from this, vibes are bad.
Yeah,
vibes are bad. But and then JP hit the grand slam. I'm like, dude, we are rolling now. And then Cal follows that up. Like, awesome, just an incredible start. And again, just what a statement that like we're not a little brother anymore.
Nope. Message sent. There's pretty decent chance you're still going to see these guys in the playoffs. And they might have Pena back. They might have Jordan back.
They might have Hader back. We'll see.
I mean, who knows? But right now, the Astros are on the outside looking in. So not only did you, more than likely win the division on their home turf, a team that has dominated this division for a decade, you've also put them on the outside looking in for a playoff position.
Right. They were asking Joe Espada during the game like about scoreboard watching, and they were showing highlights of the Red Sox Rays game for Astros purposes, not for Mariners purposes, for Astros purposes.
Right. So I mean, Houston still in decent shape to get in, so we'll see if they can. But I think no matter what's happening there, the Astros have to come to your park, and they have to beat you 3 times in your home ballpark, where you've been the best team in baseball for the last 2 months. So. Any way you want to slice it, devastating series for Houston, which made it all that much sweeter. It's one of those things where it's like, it would have been fun to go to these games and have them at T-Mobile Park, but this needed to happen in Houston. It needed to happen in front of their fans. And cherry on top, the final out to complete their collapse, Jose Altuve, strike 3, looking down the middle. Kind of tough to hit when you don't know what pitch is coming.
Hold that.
So, it was just a beautiful thing. You also touched up Framber, who's kind of, a whiny baby and all that. Like, so it was just a glorious thing. And you beat their ace on their home ballpark. Like every game had a little something that you're just like, that's the good stuff right there. And that's so, and they won three in a row. They've won 14 of 15 now. And they have everything in front of them, which I'm sure we're about to talk about right now. And they might even get to a spot where they can kind of do some things in that last series against the Dodgers, because nothing will matter about those results but being healthy. So I'm sure we'll talk about all that in the coming weeks. I mean, they still have to get 3 more. I mean, they don't have to get them themselves, but they still have to get 3 more. So we certainly don't want to sit here and pretend like this thing's over. Stranger things have happened, but
it's the Mariners, and this is how we are coded.
But it is almost certainly not going to be the Astros that get you is the thing. So, and again, you have the tiebreaker over Detroit. You have the tiebreaker over Houston. You have the tiebreaker over Cleveland. And I'm pretty sure you have the tiebreaker over the Red Sox now. So the only teams you don't have tiebreakers against, the Yankees, probably not going to matter. And the Blue Jays, which is the only thing kind of preventing us from looking at that 1 seed, which might not even be an advantage to win anyways. But
I saw people talking about the 1 seed, like technically, like mathematically, it's still possible, but you don't have the tiebreaker on.
No, it's like the Astros. You're technically 4 games back of that with 6 to play. It's just not very feasible. And again, there's really not a big difference between having the 1 or the 2.
No,
but the 2 is a very real thing.
Well, and the 2, you have a chance to play the 6 seed as the 2. So you probably prefer that. And if you play the 3 seed, assuming that you get the 2 seed, that's the winner of the AL Central. I think you feel pretty good about playing either the Guardians or the Tigers.
Sure. You're going to get, at least 2 games at your ballpark too, in the first 2 games at your ballpark as well. So the 2 seed's very much in play. I mean, you're probably the heavy favorite right now because you're 2 games up on that right now with 6 to play. So we'll probably talk more about the scenarios and whatnot to clinch all that either tonight or tomorrow. But it's a huge series win for the Mariners. And it is a series that we have long circled on the calendar. We've discussed it in the shadows for the last month. We discussed it almost more than anything else over the last week. And it arrived, and the Mariners did not disappoint. And that is something that we often don't get to experience as Seattle Mariner fans. And it's nice good sports weekend in Seattle, to say the least.
Very good. Very good. All right, we'll talk more about this sweep in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by both Zippix, 5-Hour Energy. This episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by Zippix toothpicks. Whether you're looking for nicotine satisfaction or an energy boost, Zippix has you covered with their nicotine and caffeine infused toothpicks. For nicotine users, Zippix provides a discreet way to satisfy cravings and the hand-to-mouth habit without vaping or smoking. Zippix can be a helpful tool as you work to reduce your dependence on vaping. Available in 6 great flavors with 2 milligram and 3 milligram nicotine options. And if you need energy without the crash, their caffeine toothpicks are a game changer. Go to zippixtoothpicks.com and use the promo code LOCKED ON. That's LOCKEDON for 10% off your first order. Must be 21 years old or older to order. Warning. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's zippixtoothpicks.com. Promo code LOCKED ON. That's LOCKEDON. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix toothpicks. All right, folks, it's time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power you through your day, 5-Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. In golf, is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape, ginger, lime flavor 5-Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the bev cart. And now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters Tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. For instant reactions following every Mariners game, be sure to tune in to the Mariners postcast with Anderson Hurst and Christopher Crawford, available on both the Locked On Mariners YouTube and podcast feeds. So like we talked about on Friday, this wasn't the finish line. Overcoming the Astros was part of the goal, but it wasn't the ultimate goal. At the end of the day, the Astros were just another team in your way of getting to where you ultimately want to go. And the Mariners treated them as such. You didn't want to make too much of the Astros going into the series. You didn't want to make too much about the history between you guys and all that. Obviously, that's present. Obviously, we all know that. We're all aware of everything that's happened between these two teams and how long the Astros have dominated this division in general and have dominated the American League in general.
Yeah.
But from the Mariners perspective, this is just, it's a cliche that's more so often used in football than baseball, but this was just a business trip for the Mariners. Really. That's all this needed to be. And it was nice to see them just treat it as such. I remember talking about this, a couple weeks ago when they had just gotten swept in Tampa. You needed to find that killer instinct. And tonight, especially, they exhibited that killer instinct. They smelled blood in the water and they took advantage. And to that, I say, about damn time. This looks like a team that is very much prepared to win and get deep into the postseason.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine they do anything but go up, but the Mariners entered today with the highest odds to win the World Series, according to FanGraphs, in the entire game. So not just in the American League.
Yeah. A big reason for that is because the National League is just so much better. And, the Brewers and the Phillies, the Dodgers, et cetera, they're going to all beat up on each other.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, A, you're not in the playoffs yet. It's looking very good, but you're not in the playoffs yet. And B, once you get into playoffs, everybody's 0-0. And what we know about this team is that they're incredibly streaky.
Yes.
They could be the best team in baseball for 2 weeks. They could be the worst team in baseball for 2 weeks. And when you get into the playoffs, you only get 3 oopsies and then you're done. You're eliminated. Yeah. So it's kind of one of those things where, yes, you should be excited. Yes, this team can make some noise. Yes, this team can make a deep run. They could win it all. They certainly could. But the flip side of that is, because they don't play with a ton of consistency, it's something that's going to keep you on the edge of your seat every single night. You're never going to feel great about it. And we know how quickly these things can turn. Remember, 2022, they had leads in Houston in both game 1 and 2, and they blew them, and you got swept out of the playoffs. And that's a bummer, because I'm pretty sure if you had beat Houston, you would have gone to the World Series that year. I think you were the second best team that year. Yeah. So it's just one of those things where, look, you have to get into the playoffs, but once you do, everything starts over. You're back to square one, and you really have to battle, and you have to win games like this. You're going to have to hit home runs. There's going to be games where you're just going to have to try and win a 2-1 ball game, because both sides pitching is dominant that night. These type of things are going to happen. There's going to be moments where, hey, we jumped out to a big lead, but now they're kind of, pushing back, and they're pushing back a little bit. And if we give up a hit here, the dam might break. And so we have to get those big outs, and you got them in this series when you needed to. And you won some games with your defense. You won some games with your starting pitching. Bullpen. But you certainly won games by hitting home runs, which is kind of the formula in October. You have to hit home runs and you have to pitch. That is how you win in October. There are exceptions to that. The 2015 Kansas City Royals come to mind, although they did pitch, but they didn't really hit home runs. But you look at Texas, they hit home runs. You look at the Dodgers, they hit home runs. You look at, just the last 10 World Series champions, pretty much all of them, really good pitching. They hit home runs. They take advantage of your mistakes. And the Mariners did that. Every time the Astros made a mistake, the Mariners made them pay for it. And on the flip side, when the Mariners did make a mistake, the Astros really didn't make them pay for it. The Mariners were able to dig deep and, give them 4 outs in an inning. Fine. We'll still figure out a way to win this game. So a lot of really good, playoff type situations popped up in this series. I don't think Dan Wilson handled those particularly well. I think the players handled them pretty darn well, though. And that's the important part. So, we'll see how all this plays out. But, this team certainly does have the feel of one that can make a deep playoff run, and who knows, maybe even get to or win the World Series.
This mentality that they carried into the series, that's the same mentality that they need to carry into the next one against the Rockies and against the Dodgers, if there's still stuff that's, left up in the air heading into that one. There's the potential for everything to be locked up by that point before the Dodgers even step foot in Seattle. We'll talk about that a little later on, but and once you get into October, every single one of those series, and hopefully you play 3 of them in October, you have to carry that mentality of not being satisfied. Cool, we won the division, great, but it's not time to celebrate. I mean, pop champagne, celebrate the division title, etc. But that's not the end goal, right? Winning the ALDS, that's not the end goal. Winning the ALCS is not the end goal. Getting to your first ever World Series in franchise history, that's not the end goal. It's winning the whole damn thing.
Doesn't mean you can't take time, especially as a fan, to celebrate the wins. Beating the Astros in 3 is awesome. It's huge. It was the biggest series. It had all the hype, and it lived up to your expectation. And you were the team that came out on top. Celebrate that. Great. They win the American League West. Yeah, that's something worth celebrating. That's something worth popping the champagne for. Get excited if they win the ALDS. Absolutely. It's not like you have to skip those things because they're not important if you don't win the World Series. They still are, but ultimately the goal of all 30 teams at the start of every single year is to win the World Series. And, there's plenty of time if the Mariners get there and lose. There's plenty of time to be like, what a great season. That's awesome. It still should sting, because there's no guarantee you get back. After the 2022 season, I think we all thought that this division title was going to come a lot sooner. I think we all thought that the Mariners are definitely going to be in the playoffs for the next couple of years at least. I mean, and it took them a couple of years. They had 2 step back years in a row before they could get here. And you could argue that it took, a rash of injuries, Jordan missing most of this year being the biggest one, to, finally slay the dragon that was the Astros. So there are so many things you don't want to take for granted here. And when you have, when you're playing like the Mariners are right now, and when you're, pedal to the metal and you're peaking at the right time, you want to take advantage of that. Like Cal's historic season, you want to take advantage of that. You don't want that to be for nothing. And so right now, the way things are going, you don't want to let this opportunity slip by and be satisfied with, hey, we beat the Astros. Hey, we won the American League West. That's all great.
Yeah.
And ultimately they're parts of a successful season. But right now the focus has to be on, we need to sweep the Rockies, or at least win that series. And that's what the focus is on. And then when the Dodgers come to town, we'll see where we're at, try and win those games. And then again, we'll see where the seeding's at. And that's when I can take a little bit of a break. A little bit of a physical break, and for us fans, a little bit of a mental break. So when we get there, great, we'll celebrate it, but keep your eyes on the prize, because this team, the ceiling for this team is not just to win the American League West. That is not the ceiling of this team. No. It is a byproduct of their ceiling, because their ceiling is that in a 7-game series, the Seattle Mariners can beat any team in baseball. That's just a fact.
The ceiling is a parade in Seattle.
Yes.
In November.
Mm-hmm. This team is talented enough to do it. Yes, they have their warts. Yes, I have my concerns. I'm sure we'll talk about all of that over the next, week or, 2. Hopefully they get a bye.
I mean, if they win the 2 seed, we'll have basically a whole week to talk about all these different hypotheticals and all that.
Mm-hmm. So we'll get to those. But the American League is a byproduct. The American League West is a byproduct of what you're capable of doing. It's not the actual goal of this team, and it shouldn't be the goal of this fan base. It's the goal right now because it's what's next.
Yep.
But once you secure that, it's time to shift focus. This is a good team. And, again, it has its warts. It has its concerns. It's not perfect. Some of the holes are glaring, and it's troublesome and it's worrisome. But this is a good team. They can beat anybody in the American. There is no dominant team in Major League Baseball this year.
Nope.
There really isn't. I don't know if we're going to have a 100-win team this year in all of Major League Baseball. I think the only team that can get there is the Brewers. So we'll see how it goes. But the Mariners are just as good as anybody. And right now they're playing like it. And hopefully they can continue that momentum for the next, month and some change. That would be fantastic. And if it is, we're going to have a lot of fun on the show.
Let's go over all the different scenarios in which the Mariners could clinch, go over all the magic numbers and all that good stuff here in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by Nutrafol and Monarch Money. You've probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, yeah, sure, that actually works. And I don't blame you, because there are so many products out there and it is so hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. That's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. And it's not just hype. This is a supplement clinically tested that targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach. See thicker, stronger hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. And for a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On Mariners listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use promo code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year.
And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. So with the win tonight, the Mariners' magic number to clinch the American League West is down to 3. Also, the Detroit Tigers and the Cleveland Guardians lost today, which means that the Mariners' magic number to clinch the 2nd seed and get a first round bye in the playoffs and automatically advance to the ALDS is down to 4. So mathematically, they could wrap up both of those things within the Rockies series. They could get both of those things done before the Dodgers even step foot in Seattle, which would be huge. Now we'll see what's going on with Brian Wu, because he's currently slated to start in the final game against the Rockies. My guess is they are going to skip that start. He's done for the regular season, and he will pitch in hopefully game 1 of the ALDS.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be huge, getting that first round bye because of Wu and giving him more time to recover.
Yeah.
So the earliest the Mariners could clinch the AL West would be Wednesday. That would take a Mariners win and an Astros loss on Tuesday to set up. Now the Astros and the Mariners are going to be playing at the same time, I believe, all 3 days, because the Astros are going to be in Sacramento playing the A's. So we'll be simultaneously scoreboard watching, and, depending on what happens first, the Mariners might wind up celebrating in the clubhouse as opposed to on the field. It would be great if they could celebrate on the field again, like in 2022. So, if you're looking to get tickets to be there for that, Wednesday is the earliest. Thursday, probably the most likely of the 2 days. Yeah. And then, obviously the odds just go up with each, with the later into the week you go.
It's worth noting the entire American League is off tomorrow. So the magic number will not drop no matter what. Really take tomorrow off. You don't have to scoreboard watch. You don't have to maybe go see a movie, or
see
just
a movie, watch Monday Night Football.
If you're so inclined.
Watch us here on Locked On Mariners. Maybe listen to our podcast over on our Patreon, patreon.com/Control the Zone. Mailbag Monday tomorrow, by the way, our last of the regular season. Be sure to drop your questions over on Twitter. We've already put the tweet up.
Yeah. And on the Patreon show, you get to hear us talk even more in depth about the biggest win of the weekend, the Seahawks demolishing the Saints in front of a very enthusiastic crowd. We talk about the Seahawks over there as well. So
I know this is a Mariners podcast, but my God, the Saints suck. They're so bad.
They're the Astros of the National Football League. Anyways,
there you go.
That's the way the Mariners made it look this weekend. Just saying. But
by the way, once again on an NFL Sunday, the Mariners offense exploded. Now they didn't get into double-digit territory like the last 2 Sundays, but still, big day for the offense on an NFL Sunday.
The Mariners are good on Sundays, particularly the Mariners on Sunday.
I think game 2 of the ALDS is on a Sunday. I know game 1 is on a Saturday. So
they play back to back, then they get the 1 day off to travel, and then back to back, and then back home. So,
by the way, that's the best part of the playoffs. We don't have to talk about availability for the bullpen.
No, you never play more than 3 games in a row.
Yep.
So, and you don't play that until I think the ALCS. You wouldn't play 3 in a row. So
the wild card if you had to play all 3 games, but
sure, but we don't want no stinking wild card. You know who said that, Ty? Jay Buhner, who was a part of what team?
What year, Colby?
It's a 1990. Get ready for the comparisons, guys. They're happening.
Oh, yeah.
This is not a prediction. This is a warning.
Are you a little surprised they didn't Are you a little surprised they didn't do more like 30th anniversary stuff at the ballpark?
Yeah, I think it was just Ichiro's year. I think is kind of, so they were, I don't recall them doing a ton well, I guess they couldn't do the 25th year because, but
Right. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, a little bit surprised, sure. But I think it was because it was Ichiro's, like it just coincided with Ichiro's thing, and it's, so. But Randy, next year, maybe they'll get together for the 32nd year anniversary of that 95 team, which, as we know, is like the pinnacle of sports. Like that is the greatest team that has ever been assembled. So no team can advance without paying homage to the 95 Mariners for all they did. And if you enjoy those comparisons and you're making them right now in your head, you're going to enjoy the next couple of days. I guarantee you that, but you're not going to get it from us unless we're joking like we are right now.
Yeah. It would be great if the Mariners could just lock all this stuff up before the Dodgers series. So we could spend the, following 9 days talking about like, hey, which Mariners legend do you want to see throw out the first pitch?
Yeah.
Game one.
That'd be great. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Probably someone from 95.
No.
It has to be Ichiro for one of them.
Yeah, I would imagine it'd be Ichiro. I mean,
yeah.
you got the Felix thing out of the way. Maybe a Nelson Cruz.
Yeah.
Robinson Cano. No. Scott Service.
Who literally is a team employee for one of the playoff teams.
Barely. So Scott's got time.
It would also be nice to just like chill and kind of watch what happens here at the the back end of the wild card races in both leagues. Like, because there's some fun stuff happening. Like the Reds just passed the Mets. Obviously, you got the Astros
Cleveland
and the Red
Detroit.
Sox and Cleveland and Detroit and all that still has to sort itself out.
Yeah,
so.
I can't even pretend to care about that right now. So
well, no, what I'm saying is like it would be nice if the Mariners could lock all their stuff up here in the next couple of games, so I can actually like take a step back and enjoy some of that stuff. Because what's going on right now in Major League Baseball as a whole is actually really exciting. It's just I can't bring myself to care about any of it right now because I am so stressed out.
Laser focus.
Yeah.
There's only two teams that matter: my team and the team they're playing.
That's right.
Like right now, I'm sure it's getting talked about a ton, like across the baseball fanosphere.
Sure.
But like the Mets and the Tigers collapse is like legendary, right? And that's happening right now at the same time, right in front of our eyes, and we can't really even talk about it because it's like, who cares? The Mariners are marinering. Like we have to. Yeah. It's all about them, and so it would be nice to, also kind of size up the competition over that and have them sweat it out and have them use their 2 or 3 best guys, maybe even on short rest to try and get into the playoffs, and then all of that. But we'll have the whole rest versus rust discussion if it comes into play at all when we get there. But
I really don't think it should even be a conversation, especially now with the context of Brian Wu's injury.
I know,
you kind of need the bye.
Look, Ty, we're not going to have a game to talk about for 9 days.
Yeah,
we're going to need content.
Yeah, we need content.
So just so you guys know, maybe a mid-playoff fan fiction Friday might get tossed in there. Because
all right, chill.
It's Ty's favorite segment, but
chill.
It's
the Mariners are the second seed and just won their first division in 25 years.
Let's
but let's
talk
talk
about these
about
JP Crawford trade proposals. Should the Mariners trade JP Crawford?
So are they going to get Luis Castillo's contract off of the Bucks?
Yeah, I know he's going to start Game 3 for you, but like, let's look ahead.
And that's when we lost 500 subscribers.
Speaking of, guys, we're about to pass the Astros. Not that any of you are still listening at this point because we're just vibing. But we're about to pass Locked On Astros. So do your part. The Mariners have passed the Astros on the field. Let's pass them in the YouTube subscriber count game.
That's right. Hey, we're almost at 15K subscribers, which is awesome. So thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you guys for your support here on this show and over on the Mariners postcasts with Anders and
I know
Chris
you
as well.
Don't really have a choice but to support them as well with your subscription, but you're doing it for us. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah. I mean, who brought you to this channel in the first place?
I just who built this channel from nothing? It was us.
That's right.
We did it.
It's all us.
Number 1 Mariners podcast on the planet. Who did that? This guy. He and him too, kind of.
Yeah.
But
Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast. For Colby Patnode, I'm Titan Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Titan Gonzalez and Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. We're also on Blue Sky. You can follow me at TDG, Colby at MLB Colby, and the show at Locked On Mariners. You can also find us on Instagram at Locked On Mariners. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.